Dreamers, welcome back to the show. If this is your first time watching or listening, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at LivinTheDream506. Share it, tell your friends about it, all that good stuff. Everything helps, so thanks at the very least for just being here. My guest today was just inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame, joining the likes of Leonard Cohen, Neil Young, Gordon Lightfoot. Everybody knows and loves him. He is a rock legend. Please give it up for Kim Mitchell.
Like you said, it's hard to remember. After like touring for so many years and just so many cities and stuff like that, does it kind of become a bit of a blur?
Sometimes, yeah, depending on what time of day you ask me. But yeah, I've done it. I've been across Canada, I swear, 40 times, if not more. Other places more, other places less. The East Coast probably less, probably like 30 times. 25, 30 times. So but we don't get out there enough. But yeah. So it becomes a bit of a blur. I remember certain things when people go, "Oh, do you remember playing the antique car show in Moncton?" It's like, of course I do. It was right downtown, and I actually, saw some pretty pimp and paint jobs that I was like, man, that's pretty spectacular. Because I'm a bit of a car nut too, not in a huge way, in a different way. I'm more of a track guy, but beautiful, pieces of hardware, that's for sure.
Yeah. What do you drive?
I drive a Porsche. I just say Porsche. All those snobs, right? It's like, I'm a lucky guy to have done it. It's just I've always since the good 80s and stuff like that, I always had a little toy, and I just take it to the track. It's pretty much sits in the garage, but I like it. I like to go to the track once in a while and do Grand Prix driving, not in a circle or drag strip.
Yeah. It's funny you say that about the Porsche and Porsche, because you always hear the celebrities make sure that they say Porsche.
Who gives a shit?
I agree.
Yeah, well, you know what? If that's the way they want to pronounce, that's fine. The company, I'm okay with when I'm at that place and they talk like that. It's sort of in a group of people that, you're having a beer and you're like at a campfire or something. It's like, yes, my Porsche GT3 is like, yeah, shut up.
And yeah, it's funny about like the forgetting where you've been, like cities and stuff. I always remember, I think it was Dave Letterman talking about how he interviewed so many people every night that as soon as it was over, he already forgot who he just interviewed.
Yep. Yeah. That's not been my case. But there's some bands, when you see them on stage, they have the city written down on their monitor so that they don't forget, right? And I can honestly say I've never done that, and I have only mixed it up once.
What'd you say?
I just named the wrong city because we were there the night before. It wasn't a case of. It was just out of habit, like you're saying, like say St. John. All of a sudden I'm going, hey, and I'm in Sydney. Hey, St. John. Whoops. I mean, and of course it was like, boo, boo. It didn't happen. It happened in the U.S. actually. And I'm like, come on, cut me a break. We're playing a different place every night, and we were just there last night. You guys are way better.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, bit of a sidestep, right?
Yeah.
But there hasn't been too many embarrassing moments like that. No, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
How long's your podcast been going?
3 years now.
Nice. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you. And congratulations to you. You were just recently inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Well, COVID came along and prevented that from happening, but apparently I am.
It still counts.
I got the T-shirt.
Nice.
And you know, I don't mean to make light of that. That is quite an honor. Like, you can see gold records coming, you can see Juno Awards coming, you get certain accolades throughout your musical career. But man, that one, if someone were to, say to me a week before they told me, "Hey, who do you think is going to be the next person inducted into the Canadian Songwriter Hall of Fame?" The last person I would even thought of would have been me, And so I was floored when they said, "We want to induct not just a song or a couple songs, that we want to induct your whole body of work." And yeah, my line that I keep saying is, "Wow, that's a pretty dysfunctional bunch. I should fit right in." So Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, Gordon Lightfoot. And I keep saying this. I've said this a couple times. That, I'd love to do a group shot, because I'd love to see the look in their face when I walk in. They go, "Oh, Kim's not a girl."
The classic misconception.
Yeah, that's right. "Oh, I thought your name was Max Webster."
So, like, have you always kind of called yourself like a goof rock writer type, like, performer? You know what I mean? Like, I think I read that somewhere, that you were sort of a self-proclaimed goofy writer when it came to rock and roll.
No. I don't even like that descriptive. I don't remember saying that, but yeah, no. I take my work really seriously, and maybe in the early days of Max Webster, it was eclectic. It was kind of weird, and I made an offhanded comment like, "I'm just a goof writing music," depending, once again. But no, I've always taken music, serious fun, actually. I would say, there's really nothing goofy about a song, "I Am a Wild Party" or "Rockland Wonderland" or "Go for Soda." Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
When I found out that I was going to be able to get this interview with you, I was really excited. So I started going through your library and catalog, and I mean, I've listened to you my entire life, but one song that really stood out, that still to me is one of my favorites, is "All We Are," and I've been listening to that every night for the last week. That song is so powerful and just almost transcending of music. It really takes me to a really cool place, and I just love that track.
That's really nice of you to say that. That song was an interesting one from the standpoint, when I wrote it on keyboards. I'm not a keyboard player, but I just I horse around on it a bit, know a few chords, and I wrote it on keyboard, and then I realized I can't sing this. Maybe one day I'll have a female in the band or something, and because I could sing the verse, and then when it came to "Don't Ask Me," I was like, no, I kept hearing it an octave above, some of this soaring voice. And so I shelved it for probably a couple of years, until Peter Fredette walked into my life in the recording studio. And I said, "Do you sing at all, man?" He goes, yeah, a little bit. And he kind of sings some other stuff. I'm like, "Wow, you've got a great voice. You have like nice high register." And then I started thinking, "All We Are." And I said, "Will you try this little part here?" I was like, "Oh, this is great. This is amazing." So hauled it out. It's been amazing ever since, man.
Yeah, that's a great song.
He's become. Thank you. I'm pretty proud of that one.
What's your process like for writing? I mean, you're a Hall of Famer now. I would love to know how you start writing, what kind of process you have.
Okay, sure. I look at it a bit different than a lot of writers. There are some writers out there that think like I do, or I think like them. I'll say that. Which is I look at it, these ideas are floating around up in the universe, all these little zaps of ideas, and then they come down, and they'll pick something like me to be the conduit to bring them to life. So I just kind of serve the song. I feel like the song's roadie. I don't look at it like, yeah, I came up with this part and I came up with that part and blah, blah, blah. I look at more like even you were just talking about All We Are, you know, even though I said, I came up with this on the keyboard, it was more like, I don't really play keyboard. How did that happen? This stuff was going through my head. And so I feel like it's the song sort of working me. I'm kind of the medium of it. And so that's the process. And from there, sometimes I'm staring at a lyric sheet, sometimes not. It just kind of happens how it happens. They're all kind of different. But if with my attitude with songwriting, and I think I've told this to young songwriters too, you know, give me some advice songwriting. It's like, dude, just, or whoever you are, get your music to where you love it. Get your songs to where you love them. And kind of forget the outside chatter, what everybody's talking about. You're either the writer here, or you might be working with a couple other people. Get that to where you're excited about it and you love it. It's like, oh, I love it. And then beyond that, you can't really predict what's going to happen or not happen. It's not your gig.
Yeah. So you kind of subscribe to the idea that ideas are sort of their own entity, and you just kind of tap into that conduit and then bring them to life.
Yes.
You
know, Bob Dylan thinks like that. I think Neil Young sometimes has said that too. There's been songwriters out there that are kind of like, man, I'm not writing a song. It's kind of like comes to me, and I try stuff like my new song Wishes. It took 10 years to find the right parts. It had some awkward moments in it, and that took a long time to sort of, you know, I'd go to it and go. It almost felt like the song was going, no, that's not it. Go away. Come back a few months later. No, you don't have it. All right. How about this? No. And then it was like, yeah, more of that. You know, 6 months. Yeah, that's it. Do that, Kim. Do that. Okay, yeah, we got it. You're getting it. And a couple hours later, it's like, it's done. It feels like we're complete here now.
Yeah. Do you do anything specific to tap into that energy, or does you just, when it comes, it comes?
Yeah, you know, there's couple kinds of writers. I think kind of what you're asking there. There's sort of staff writers and people who write jingles, commercials, and stuff. They sit in a room every day and they come up with ideas. I'm more of the school of you can't rush creativity. You can't hurry it along. Yeah, I'll go downstairs and work on a song and work on an album. But when it comes to new ideas, you could be driving, going to get a burger somewhere, and all of a sudden like, whoa, what's that? And grab your phone and sing a line. No rhyme or reason why that just happened when it did. So that's why I think the way.
When was the first song signal that you received that you remember?
It was on the Greek island of Rhodes. I was in my early 20s, and a co-writer ended up writing with Max Webster named Ty Dubois. He was a friend that I didn't grow up with, but it lived in the same town, and he wrote kind of poetry and jammed around with the English language. And he was going to Turkey. He said, I'm going to come over and visit you, man, in Greek island of Rhodes, because I'm going to head off to Turkey after that. So I'm going to stop in and say hi. I'm like, yeah, sure, it'd be awesome to see you. And we're just sitting around, and like, he showed me some stuff, some lyric stuff, and then I'm just sitting there, and then bang, these chords kind of rolled into my head, and a melody, and I'm going, okay, whoa, okay, sure. And we wrote a song called I Can Only Give You What My Heart Already Knows. And that was lifetimes ago.
Wow. Was that
There's
the first song?
About 150, yeah, about 150 tunes later, I think so.
So that was your first song that you ever wrote?
Yeah, it's never been recorded.
Oh, really?
No.
Performed live?
No. It was kind of unfinished. I'd call it an unfinished first valiant effort, and not worth maybe pursuing. That's another thing for songwriters. It's like, if you believe in your song and you're struggling with it, sooner or later it's going to get done. There's always the other side of the mountain. But that was the first tune, and it was kind of like, yeah, that's pretty good. And then a few months later, you're like, yeah, it's not that good. So I just start writing other stuff.
So when did you start music? Like, you wrote that song in your 20s, you said.
Yep.
Had you been playing guitar and things like that leading up to it for many years?
Yeah, man. I left home I quit home and quit school at 17 and moved to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I like to say Canada because these podcasts go worldwide, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So Toronto, Canada, we moved as a 17-year-old, but I've been in bands since probably 12, 13 years old. Little stupid, backyard little, hey, what are you doing?
Been there.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sure. So you know that, and but it's a cool time. You're playing guitar. You're taking lessons from a teacher, learning on top of Old Smoky and some little stuff like that. That's when I started.
And did you know that music was like your career path right from day one?
My parents said somewhere around 5 years old, I was sitting on my father's lap, and Elvis Presley came on the television, and he was singing. And after that, I was obsessed with guitar. They said you'd go in the corner. I'd lay down on my stomach. We had a little record player on the floor with one speaker. It was mono then, and like just listening to Elvis records and Patsy Cline, and so I was kind of obsessed with that. I lost interest, they said, in going outside and playing tag with my friends, and it just became staring at this record player, listening to music the whole time. What happened to our son?
And that was it.
Where did he go? He's over there in the corner.
So Elvis was the first influence. What was your biggest influences after that, once you got like older and really into music?
Just people who own their own piece of musical real estate. And what I mean by that is not sort of the radio fodder, the sort of following trend stuff, as the people that were like, wow, like in 3 seconds who that is. I was a big, not many of your listeners, if any, I doubt will have heard of this person, Captain Beefheart. I was a big Captain Beefheart fan. And then, along came Jimi Hendrix and changed the world of guitar playing. And that was a pretty spectacular moment in musical history. Everybody was flipping out on him. And I was too, although I flipped out more on his second record. I thought his first record was amazing, but I wasn't a fan of the sonics of it. The sound of the record itself was like, listen to it. Everybody's like listening loud, and I'm like, oh God. But all of a sudden, the second record, and Electric Ladyland, became one of my favorite all-time records. I'd listen to that record. It's a double album. I listened to it over and over and over with headphones laying on the floor. Remember when I was in Toronto, had moved to Toronto, at least once a day, I'd listen to that album top to bottom with headphones on. Just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. It's so good.
I remember doing the same thing with Jimi Hendrix. That was one of my first loves, and probably one of my biggest influences for me to decide to start playing guitar.
Oh, great. Yeah, how old are you?
33.
Okay, yeah, my son's just a little bit younger than you, one of my two sons. And it was the same thing. Well, all of a sudden, he's not even a musician. One day I look at an iPod, and he goes, I said, well, you got Jimi Hendrix on it? He goes, yeah, Electric Ladyland. And I'm like, wow, that kind of surprises me. He goes, oh, yeah, it's like ridiculous. And then he had One Size Fits All by Frank Zappa. And I'm like, wow, this is impressive.
All the classics, right?
Yeah, and then as far as the world of guitar goes on, I was influenced a little bit when I came back from the Greek islands. I was influenced by John Mclaughlin, who was sort of a rock jazz player. That was sort of a whole new thing that kind of opened up. L.D. Mule and those guys. And then Eddie Van Halen came along, and I think he sort of reinvented it again, really took on some new attitude that the guitar needed. and I'll always respect him. I was totally jazzed when I met him, and he came in our dressing room. Actually, we played a gig with Van Halen, and they didn't have to come in see the opening act, but knock, knock, knock. Trailer door opens up. They just opened the door. They didn't even say, "Can we come in?" They just opened up the door and walked in, and we're like, "That's Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar." What?
Oh, that's awesome.
Big moment. Yeah, he was so sweet too. He was really nice.
What other moments like that have you had on the road?
Lots of moments. There's some nice stuff. Just, I guess what you're asking is, a lot of times I'm not sure people even know who I am. Some of these bigger artists. And so I'm interviewing Tommy Lee once because I did her career in radio, and Tommy Lee's like, "Well, Kim, you know what it's like playing in front of 17,000 people." And I'm like, "Well, actually, I play in front of 1,700 people, but yeah, that's okay." No, he was really sweet. Paul Stanley was really nice. He came off an elevator and someone introduced us. He went, "Oh yeah, Kim Mitchell, Go for Soda. I love your work." Neil Sean of Journey. We were opening up for them, and we're at a crew meal. So it's backstage. It's crew meal. All the bands are eating, the crew's eating or catering. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, Neil Sean's sitting over there. I want to go say hi to him, but he's eating his dinner. And the band's my band's going, "He probably knows who you are." And I'm like, "Get out of here. He doesn't know who I am." So just as I went to push my chair back to go say hi to him, he pushes his back and comes over and introduces himself. "Hey man, I love your work." And I'm like, "Holy shit, man." So stuff like that has happened. I think in our lines of work, and I'm speaking to all your listeners, whatever you do for a job, it's always nice to be accepted and acknowledged by your peers that you look up to. They'll look up to all these people, didn't even know. And then Gene Simmons was Mr. Showbiz. He was like, I said, "How come Max Webster never opened up for Kiss?" He goes, "Because you guys could play." And, I mean, it's showbiz to him, right? Like he doesn't care. He's like rich and famous, but it was just, I thought it was such a classy, sweet, playful thing to say back to me. I'll always remember that. And then Black Sabbath, we were in the studio. They were in recutting, and Tony Iommi came over to where we were recording. We're like, "Hey, you guys want to come in and hear a playback?" We're like, "What? Sure, okay." And there we were. They just cut some track. I don't know what it was. Ozzy was in the TV lounge. He wasn't in for the playback because I think his dad was sick. So, and we just sat there. And meanwhile, they're really nice. They're like, "Hey, sit here in the middle. Sit here." And they just cranked that piss out of it, blowing our brains off. And I'm like, "Man, this is a song that was cut like 20 minutes ago. And I'm privileged enough to be sitting here listening to it." And I can't for the life of me remember what song it was or what album it was. But it goes from sort of moments like that to ridiculous moments. Like, I remember stuff in my life, Chris, like we had our equipment and everything after a gig, and we had a flat tire. We didn't have a friggin' jack. So we literally took the gear out, and the band members lifted the truck up, like right as he loosened all the nuts off. And, "Okay, I'm going to pull the tire out now." Lifted it up, and then put the new one on. And when he put the new one on, he put it on backwards, like reverse. It's like, so we had to lift it again. So there's moments like that. There's moments of when I first left home. Do you want me to shut up?
Not at all. I want you to just keep going.
Because you can edit this, right?
Of course, but I don't want to. I love all this.
Okay, so and then there's moments of like first moving to Toronto at 17, and we're in a house, and we're living next door to 3 convicts that just got out of jail. Not only that, but our fridge. This is paying your dues. Our fridge was out back because the landlord wouldn't fix the fridge, so our fridge didn't work. So when the weather got warmer in the summer, the band had to break up. And that's a true story. As ridiculous as that sounds, we moved to Toronto sort of in the fall. No, early fall. Yeah, I'm going to say like September. And the fridge still worked, and then it didn't work. And we're like, "Hey, we got to fix our fridge." Like, "I'm not fixing the fridge. Go buy yourself one." Like, we can't afford a fridge. We're eating craft dinner every night and rice, and once in a while there's a bit of chicken or something. Like, it's crazy. So anyway,
I don't think I've ever heard of a band fight originating from a fridge.
a band fight?
Didn't you say we like couldn't live together? Or
No, we couldn't. We had to break up because we couldn't feed ourselves. We couldn't keep food cold. Like, nothing we could keep because the fridge didn't work and the landlord wouldn't do anything about it. I mean, we're a whole band living in a pretty big house in Toronto for $150 a month. So, I guess we shouldn't have complained and bitched. And we had 3 convicts living next door that the door just swung open one night while we're eating dinner, and they come waltzing down the hallway. We're like, we're gonna die. This is it. And they're like, are you the guys playing the music? We're like, yeah, because we'd be jamming, right? We're practicing like crazy. Well, it sounds good. So if anybody ever gives you a problem, you let us know. We're like,
nice.
yeah. And then they said, Have you got any booze? We didn't have any booze. We couldn't afford booze. And I said, I have some aftershave. Go get it. And they drank my aftershave.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then I'll always remember this dude. The one guy takes a glass and he puts it against the wall and he jumps up and does a handstand and picks the glass up with his thing and drinks, I don't know, a pop we had or something, half a pop. He drinks it upside down, then he gets up and he takes a bite out of the glass and chews it and swallows it. It's like I'm like, this is from, I was in high school, like a week ago. Now I'm like in Toronto watching a guy who just got out of jail eating glass and drinking my aftershave. And
that was the start of your career.
That's right. And it went downhill from there.
What was the craziest thing that you remember from the road?
That's right up there. From the road, I don't know. There's good things that happen. I mean, and bad things. Just crazy stuff. That's stuff I might not want to discuss.
Understandable.
I met the famous groupie on the road, Connie Hamzy or something. She's in the song "We're an American Band." Should they write about her? They go, Connie, sweet Connie. She had the whole show, and that's a natural fact. And I think that was Little Rock, Arkansas. I met her. We're the opening act.
I gotcha.
We don't get it. We don't get anything. The headliner, and I met her. I just kind of waltzed into a washroom and something was going down, and later I apologized to the truck driver. I said, man, I'm so sorry. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. He says, that's Connie that's the famous Connie from the Grand Funk song. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
Okay, there's one for the road.
Witnessed a little piece of history.
Yeah, it's true. And, I don't tell that story often because it's not like, I don't know, it's crazy moments back then. Life was crazy back then. And I'm glad that we are where we are now.
Yeah, I notice you're very modest, saying like he won't recognize who I am, but I mean, you're Kim Mitchell. You have so many hits. Like, you're a classic rock legend from where I come from. Everybody knows and listens to Kim Mitchell. And just even when I was telling friends that I had this interview, it was just, the response was overwhelming. It's a real testament to the music you've played in your career.
Well, thanks, Chris. That's when I hear stuff like that, it's very humbling to me, and I don't take it lightly. That stuff means as much, if not more, than a gold record or platinum records on my wall. This is like, well, not face to face, but screen to screen. People telling me something on a small piece of their musical fabric in their life, and that to me is amazing. I love when people come up and I'm not saying, hey, come on up, I need it. It's just really nice when people come up and they tell me a story, and sometimes they have this look on their face like, I'm really sorry, man. Can I? And I'm like, no, tell me your story, man. What's up? What is it? Because, you know, I'd hang out with any one of you. That's what I feel like.
I would love that.
Yeah, well, I would, you know, like I feel like that when in my career, that anyone who I meet, especially out in the Maritimes, um, some of my favorite times out there are after the show, like back at the hotel lobby bar, you know, it's just meeting everybody and saying hi, and it's like really nice. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a small town here, St. George, just outside of St. John, and it's a pretty classic rock town, I would say. Like that's the consensus favorite genre. And like I said, grew up listening to you. All my friends, same thing. And I mean, it's just been an honor to talk to you. And I hope that, like right now, we're doing pretty good in New Brunswick. We have not many cases. We're starting to get some live events rolling, and hopefully Ontario can sneak in sometime soon, and you guys can do a little.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah, awesome, man.
So hopefully, when things get going again, I can meet you in person, and
yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. Tell me about your guitar playing.
Absolutely, I will.
No, tell me about it now. What are your
I played my whole life.
Oh, good.
I've been in a couple bands that never really did much. Played a few Atlantic Canada festivals, and now I basically just play on my own and teach my son.
Oh, nice. You know, I was, if I may be so bold as to say something, that when you said, oh, they didn't do too much, but when you're playing together with a band, man, and when you connect, it's the same feeling that anybody's getting. A Celine Dion or an AC/DC or a U2 or a Rush or a Kim Mitchell or an April Wine. When you connect and start transmitting that musical energy, it's all the same feeling. What you're talking about is the numbers at the end of the night are different. That's all.
True. It is true. I mean, I've played on a big stage in front of very few people, but it's not about who's there. It's just about playing those songs the way you've written them and just enjoying it with your friends on stage, really.
That's right. I've played to a lot of big places with not many people too, man. So, you know,
it's all fun.
Okay.
Still.
It's all fun. It's a great way to make some gas money.
That's right.
All right.
Awesome. Well, your new single, Wishes.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to the new album, Big Fantasize. And honestly, thank you so much for doing this. It's been an honor.
Yeah. People, your listeners can go, your viewers can go hear it at KimMitchell.ca. And, you know, they'll see links there to Spotify and whatever and all that jazz. And anybody who hears the song, I hope they like it, because the song meant a lot to me when I wrote it. So I hope people dig it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right.
Take care.
See you later, brother. Don't work too hard, man.
I'll try not to.
Okay,